What is up, guys? I am back again with another book review for all of you from the series of Warhammer 40,000. So a lot of you who do not know the game, but instead know the books, you're going to be in for a treat with this one. As this one, if you will recall from my Talon of Horus review a few weeks ago, this one, Black Legion, is the continuation of that. It is the second book of the Black Legion Trilogy and the sequel to Talon of Horus. And I will tell you right now, if you all have seen my review for Talon of Horus, you will know that I absolutely loved Talon of Horus. I loved its style of storytelling. I loved the characters. And Black Legion offered me more of the same and then some, with its amazing storytelling. And honestly, the style of writing itself. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Aaron Dembski-Bowden, the author of the Black Legion Trilogy, really knows how to write an engaging story, with his mix of third-person and first-person perspective layered throughout both of these books. It really helps to nail down the point of how Kaon, the main character, and in many ways the narrator of this trilogy, it really goes to show of how this takes place from his perspective, and yet at the same time, he is telling this like it's a story, like it's already happened. And Jesus, it is really well done. I'm not even exaggerating here, to be quite honest with you guys. So, let's get to talking about it. So, Black Legion, as I stated before, it takes place after Talon of Horus. It is primarily told from the perspective of Kaon, our main character, formerly of the Thousand Sons Legion, and now a member of the Black Legion. He actually serves as Ezekiel Abaddon's personal assassin for any rivals that challenge Abaddon to his rule of the Eye of Terror. Because as of this point, Abaddon, his main focus, is to gather a large amount of brothers from all the different legions and offer the chance for them to fight for something greater. And in fact, one of the main themes of this is seeking vindictus, or vengeance. But there are so many other themes in here too, such as brotherhood, uniting under a common banner, finding purpose once more. And I gotta tell you guys, the sheer scale of the action that is described in this, you can actually envision it in your mind. Like hell, as of right now, as I'm thinking about this, I can envision this army of black-clad, 7-foot-tall men charging into what is equivalent to a hellscape of fire, demons, enemy troops, all of that as they charge in with massive war cries, and it is amazing. So Kaon, to continue with the story, is on a personal mission from Ezekiel Abaddon to assassinate one of the main rivals for the control of the Eye of Terror, that being Thagus Dadavek, the Lord of Hosts, whom is more concerned with uniting them under his banner as War Master, but they get to keep all their former legions. And in fact, while Abaddon seeks to cast off the sins of their fathers and form a new legion of Brotherhood, Dadavek does not want that. He wants to unite them all under him and have them worship the gods of chaos. He is the rival to Abaddon for control of the Eye of Terror and the many different 9 traitor legions. So, Kaon does this. He tries to go through with his mission, and he fails, allowing Dadavek to escape. And that is one of the biggest things here, is Kaon wanting to find Dadavek and finish his mission because he hates failing Abaddon. He is ashamed that he failed, but he also wants to know how Dadavek managed to escape from him. And I gotta love Kaon as a character, honestly. He has that loyalty to Ezekiel Abaddon, which is really fun to read about, yet at the same time, when it skips to certain sections or certain paragraphs where it describes how he's telling the story, you know you're hooked from the first moment you start. Just in the way it starts. Like, at first you would think that it's just now happening, but then with another paragraph or two, it reminds you that this is being told by Kaon, whom at this point in time is now a prisoner of the Imperium of Man, being interrogated by the Inquisition, and he is telling the formation of the Black Legion. That constant reminder lets you know that this is a story being told, this is history being explained. And that is a very horrifying thought. But going back to the theme of Brotherhood here, I like how Kaon actually starts noticing that Abaddon is starting to waste away. And he looks and he realizes that Abaddon is kind of like growing thin, skeletally. He looks haunted, like he hasn't slept. And he's concerned. Because by checking through the warp, he sees that a lot of the Chaos Gods, the Pantheon, as they are known, of Khorne, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and Nurgle, all four of these Chaos Gods are hammering away at Abaddon, whispering promises to him of victory, of a new weapon for him. And all of this is stretching Abaddon's mind to the breaking point. And it physically shows through him being worn down, looking much thinner than he normally would. Looking thin, gaunt, haggard. And I like that. It shows that even Abaddon is not invulnerable. But again, so we continue on with the story, and we get to see other characters return, like Telemakan of the Emperor's Children, who now serves the Black Legion, as well as Lior of the World Eaters, whom also serves the Black Legion. All of these characters return for the second book, and I like how they are still a prominent presence within the story. They aren't just introduced in the first book and just shoved aside for the next one. No, they're all playing a part here. And I like how over time you can start to see that a lot of the Chaos Marines now, due to the prolonged exposure to the Eye of Terror and warp space itself, they are becoming more corrupted. They are physically changing. For example, Telemakan, who used to wear a silver mask, now the mask has permanently become his face. Hence now, Telemakan has earned the nickname of the Masked Prince. Kind of fitting if you think about it. But anyways, moving on. So, throughout all of this, it ramps up to the point where you have Abaddon and the Black Legion trying to escape from the warp, which is really hard to do because they do not have a navigator. And them trying to find a way through, out of the warp, out of the Eye of Terror, and finally approaching Imperial space, because they have now realized what the heck is going on outside of the Eye of Terror. They have realized that you have the Ecclesiarchy, you have the Imperium now worshipping the Emperor like he is a deity, and they are shocked, angered, and embittered at the fact that the Imperium is trying to erase them from history. So this only furthers their ideals of vindictus, or vengeance. But also, I like how, further on in the book, we get to see Kaon get a chance to shine when Abaddon and Dadavek decide to form a peaceful rally to discuss terms of surrender or offering ways for the other to just back down. And eventually they actually have Kaon and one of Dadavek's war chiefs go for an honorable duel. And I gotta tell you, the entire duel sequence was really well done, because you could actually feel like you were observing Kaon and this rival enemy going at each other with blades. You could picture the duel in your head. But the biggest thing for me was at one point when one of the enemy war chiefs, under Dadavek, decides to bring out a little surprise for the Black Legion. They reveal that time itself in the warp is not what they think. There are moments when it can be slow and moments when it could pass by for months. Like you wouldn't even believe that months or years have passed. And it describes how Dadavek and all of his fleet have decimated the Black Legion ranks. All of their bases, all of their ships that they had collected and left behind have almost been entirely scrapped. Meaning their strength is massively depleted. But the biggest insult to injury for all of them is when one of the war chiefs pulls out a torn banner of the Black Legion, which shows one of the Legion's comrades that has been torn apart and picked clean to the bones by Darovek's demon hounds. And even worse, they actually see that the banner itself was soiled by these demonic hounds. And this actually sends Kaon into a fiery rage, which allows him to win the duel. And the entire time I was reading that part, I was just like, holy crap, you guys just flipped the switch. And watching Kaon going from being this calm sorcerer, calmly wanting to duel his opponent and trying to find a way through, to just immediately flipping the switch to his anger and just absolutely nailing this dude until he finally wins the duel. That was a really well done writing style and really well done imagery. I loved seeing that. And then even the final fight when the Black Legion manages to escape from the Eye of Terror and finally emerges into real space for the first time in forever. They are immediately intercepted by what amounts to the Black Templars. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Black Templars are not the Black Legion. The Black Templars are essentially Crusader Knights, and their sole purpose is to hunt down anything related to witchcraft, heretics, traitors, all of that. They are essentially the Knights Templar of ancient times, just ramped up to 11. Like, they worship the Emperor like he is a deity, and anyone who believes otherwise, they are immediately executed for heresy, which that is a major problem with the Imperium. But again, how they are first introduced against the enemy of the Black Templars, and their first major fight where you have ship-to-ship combat first off, and then eventually it permeates into this massive fight where you have boarding parties going on both ships, where you have Abaddon leading the charge into the enemy ship, firing away, leading the squadron before he eventually gets into a fight with the main commander, Sigismund. I hope I did not just butcher that name. And just picturing this, these two legendary commanders going at each other. One filled with spiteful anger, another just hoping to end this with less bloodshed. And even further beyond that, we have where Darovek and his forces, they somehow manage to escape the warp. And then they start trying to board the Black Legion capital ship. And we see Kaon joining forces with his brothers to charge down into the very bowels of the ship, where we see, where the way they describe the ship at the very bottom is just like this whole ecosystem of demonic and horde type creatures just living down there, with those who have either psychic potential or something. Whether you have humans and demons just living down there, they choose humans to become Space Marines or new troops. But just the fact that they are marching through the very bowels of the ship, encountering not only enemy troops but also demonic forces rallying against them. Literally, it turns the ship into like a house of horrors type of thing. Like at one point it describes how they go into this room where there's this roof of ivory, right? And in one of the most sickest imagery you can think of, someone manages to blast a hole up to that roof of ivory, and it is revealed that this roof was actually made of human teeth. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when I first read that, I was just like, oh my god, this is twisted. But all in all, the very book itself kept me hooked, line, and sinker all the way through, to the point that I just couldn't put the book down until I finished it. I had to forcefully tear myself away, lest I get sucked into it for hours, which I did. But yeah, definitely recommend picking up Black Legion if you have not already read Talon of Horus. Or if you're looking for a fun time, check out Talon of Horus and then Black Legion. But for now, let me go ahead and tell you all the score for this one. So all in all, my overall score for Black Legion by itself, and not just as a sequel, but as a book by itself, is a solid 10 out of 10. for really well done storytelling and immersive action that I could easily picture in my head. Aaron Dembski-Bowden, you are a magnificent writer when it comes to that. But yeah, once again, I definitely recommend checking out the Black Legion Trilogy, the way you are prepared for when Book 3 comes about. But, if any of you are not interested in the Chaos Marines, let me go ahead and provide you another gateway into Warhammer, with a book series that I myself have actually just recently started, and yet, as of right now, after nearly finishing the first book, I highly recommend this fan-favorite series. So, to start off with, I recommend First and Only, the first book of the Gaunt's Ghost series by Dan Abnett. This series actually spans for about 16 books overall, and it is one of the longest, and yet also one of the most fan-beloved series ever known in all of Warhammer. And if you prefer, instead of like these giant 7-foot guys just running around absolutely wrecking everything, and you want to see more something akin to just regular soldiers fighting on the front lines of a massive war campaign, definitely would recommend Gaunt's Ghosts, especially First and Only, just to give you a taste for the story itself. But anyways, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe, or if you have any other recommendations for books from either Warhammer or any other series, let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to check them out whenever I can. Again, thank you all for listening, and have an awesome day.